Excuse me, can I please talk to you for a minute?
Sure. You know, you look kind of familiar.
Yeah, you do too. I just wanted to know, do you know a podcast named The Podcast Is Mine?
Oh, I know that podcast.
I just wanted to let you know that it's mine.
No, it's mine. Hello, and welcome to The Podcast Is Mine. I'm Bhushan Kumar.
And I'm Sunny Gruel.
Yes, you are. How's it going, Sunny?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so good. You know, I'm going to keep on saying, I feel like I keep on saying the same thing over and over, but I've got to say these two things. First of all, I'm so excited for today's episode.
This is going to be an epic one.
It's just like, I just love that every episode this season, well, all our episodes, I love them, but I'm just so excited about kind of the stuff we're talking about. And second of all, can you believe we're halfway through the season?
I know.
Like, didn't we just start yesterday?
Oh, God, it's gone by so quickly this time.
It has gone far too fast, and I'm just like, what the hell? I just can't. I can't deal with time at the moment. It's just like
it's
can't.
zooming by, but we're loving it. I'm enjoying the process.
Exactly, we're riding the chariots of time. Anyway, speaking of being ridden, let's go over to the Secret Diary of a Zone 1 host.
Yeah.
So I'm going to open up that tab. And so today, for the Secret Diary of Zone 1 Home, we are going to talk about the 2019 film Hustlers.
Oh,
yes.
Gosh. Let's just go through some of who are the key names from this movie.
So, in the film obviously stars Constance Wu, who you may know from Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh my God, I loved her.
Which is like, we love that film. And also, we need to talk about that film at some point, because, when you talked about the Carrie Bradshaw moment that she has in that, when she has the Carrie moment from Sex and the City,
my God.
where she just lies on the sofa, like, all...
She's so over the top.
Oh my God, we are definitely going to come back to that at some point. So Constance Wu, Julia Stiles, who we know from 10 Things I Hate About You, and Save the Last Dance.
Save the Last Dance. That is like 20 years old.
Oh my God, that film. The best thing about that film, very quickly, is I remember when I had to go and see it, I had to go and pee at the beginning of the film. I
thought you meant in the movie.
Just go and piss on the screen. And I could get paid for doing that, actually. And I was just thinking to myself, oh my God, do you know what? I'm going to go for a wee. I need to go for a wee, but the film's about to start. So I was like, if this film is really boring, then I'll just get up and go. So I never did. But the film was so good, I forgot I had to wee. And I just got completely distracted. And then at the end...
You got a bladder infection.
then literally at the end, as the credits were rolling, I was talking to my friend, we were like, oh, we loved this and we loved that. And then I was like, oh my God, I've got to pee. And then I had to run to the loo. And it also has Lily Reinhardt. So if you watch Riverdale, I don't know if you watch Riverdale.
I've not, but apparently everyone is hot in that. So that makes complete sense to me that she was in this as well.
And she totally plays against type for what she does there. So like, it was really good. So Hustlers is about set in like 2008, and it's before the big financial crash when the Lehman Brothers destroyed our world.
Oh, goodness.
And it's about these pole dancers who kind of exploit these men and kind of play these men at their own game. So these guys come in and spend loads and loads of money watching these women do these amazing like lap dances and stuff. And then after the financial crash, they have to get creative and think about what they're going to do. I mean, which is a nice way to
literally
put it.
hustling, yeah.
So you've seen this? What did you think of it?
I watched it. Would have been on a plane on the way to. I think it's when we were going to Vegas.
Humble brag alert! Humble brag alert! Where were you going? Sorry,
to the US, which is your favorite place.
How dare you go to my house?
I know. I didn't get permission. I should have got my visa approved by you.
Yeah, exactly. That. Never mind your ESTA. What about your BHUSHANSTA?
You know what? I think I told you, didn't I? Remember when I first went for the first time in ages to the US, and I didn't even know an ESTA existed. I turned up at the airport, and the guy was like, "Have you got your ESTA?" I was like, "My what?" And he was like,
"I beg your pardon."
"Your visa waiver program." I was like, "But I'm British." I was like, "I beg your pardon." I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. He made me take my bag off, and he was like, "Here's an iPad. You can fill this form in."
Oh, wow.
And he's like, "You're not guaranteed entry now." And I was like, "Oh my God!" The thing is, they just snuck that in there. I hadn't been to the US for like 5, 6. It wasn't that trip. I think it was a few years before. But I remember just kind of getting caught off guard. I was like, "Since when? Why are they doing it?" It's such a hassle. It's such an ad. It's like $10 or something, or $14. It's not the money. It's just the hassle of it.
It's the hassle, and you have to get it done beforehand. And
well, I did it in the airport.
You're very lucky, because normally they could have like turned you away.
I was panicking when they were like, you know what? Because I filled it in on the iPad. I'm completely digressing, obviously, as usual.
No, it's my fault. I took us way
You
out.
triggered me. But I remember like filling it in, and partway through the application, I think it said the address of where you're going. And obviously I had no idea what my friend's address was. So I was like, and it was like early morning in the UK. So it was way late at night in the US. So I thought, I'm not going to hear from her for ages now. So I thought, let me just guess it. And then I pressed save, like to come back into the form later.
Yeah.
And it just said, your form has been submitted.
Oh,
no.
no.
I was like, go back. And I couldn't do it again. And I said to the guy, and he was like, have you done it? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, let me see it. And I was like, oh, it's already been submitted. And he was like, okay, fine. He said, just to let you know, if it's not approved, then they will turn you back when you get there. So it's your risk. And I was like, I'm willing to take that risk. I put my bag back on that conveyor belt. Typical time. But anyway, so yeah, I got in onto the plane with my Esther. And I remember thinking, oh, I need to watch Hustlers. It's like, I love J-Lo. So I definitely wanted to give it a go. I can't tell you much about the story other than what I remember about the little short synopsis you gave me. But I remember it being hilarious. And I remember them looking incredible.
Yes.
And that's that was the thing that really drew me to it. Just to think, oh my God, J-Lo is just pausing time yet again. Oh my looking God. Incredible. And yeah, I like the sentiment of it. It's really powerful women. They're incredible saleswomen, weren't they? Didn't they start a business in it as well?
Yes. It's such a strong movie. I humble brag alert. I saw it twice. I saw it once. Of course, I did my homework. I understood the assignment, ladies and gentlemen. So I watched it in cinema first, which was amazing, especially when J-Lo's entry scene in cinema. It was like a quiet cinema. I think it was like a autumn day or something. It was really chilly outside. I remember going inside and just being blown away, to that. She done to Janet Jackson Control, but it was just that is one of the best entries I've ever seen on screen. I was like, wow. But just the whole film, it was just so powerful. It's about female empowerment.
Yes, it is.
And also, I love how it showed female friendships and female enterprise, female-driven enterprises. There's a great scene when, no spoiler, but when Constance Wu, they have a crazy night out, and then the next day they show her going to the babysitter, picking up her daughter, and dropping her off in school wearing the clothes she wore last night, and they're kind of blood-stained and stuff. And it's so true because when you think of a gangster movie like Goodfellas or something, you never see the guys going to school or dropping their kids off, but you got the sense that these women were really they had so much more than what was going on in the club. The club was represented something else. But the reason I wanted to talk about Hustlers because it's related to our main feature presentation.
Me and you.
Exactly. So Sunny and I, once the pandemic is over, we will be opening up our own club.
I was going to say opening up what?
The OnlyFans lounge. We got an offer, didn't we, from a rich businessman. It was open up a big lounge with poles and what have you. So we were like, okay, fine, then.
We can deal with that. Yeah.
Exactly. So, but I wanted to talk about it because it was part of an amazing year for Jennifer Lopez because she turned 50, which is everyone oh my God, 50,
15.
15, exactly. But she had so many achievements in that year. So there was Hustlers, which she produced and was a critical hit and a box office hit.
I didn't know she produced it as well.
Yeah, and apparently she was doing other I can't remember what she was. I think she was filming something else in the meantime because it's quite a low budget film. So apparently there's one scene that she talks with Julia Stiles because Julia Stiles plays the journalist who's kind of interviewing her in it. And apparently there's I remember reading this excerpt from Julia Stiles' interview where she's like, Jennifer Lopez is so professional. So she literally got handed a page of dialogue. It's a really important scene.
Yeah.
And she said J-Lo just looked at it, but they changed it last minute or something. J-Lo looked at this page of dialogue for 5 minutes and then just handed it back and then just rattled off the scene perfectly. Wow. Word perfect.
What a talent.
And when you watch it, when it's actually there, you're like, oh my God.
She managed to just nail it in that situation.
There and then, exactly. Wow. I mean, that's how honed she was. But then also that year, she was also celebrated at Versace for 20 years for that dress.
Remember, and they did a modified version of it, didn't they?
They did.
And it looked incredible, and she looked amazing.
She looked so good, and she just stormed that runway. Wow. She invented Google Images.
Yes, I heard about it.
Yeah, so that's what it was essentially because everyone was looking for the Versace dress, and that dress looked like so many other people wore that dress, like Jerry Halliwell and
Bhushan I did that photo shoot.
Do you remember my photo shoot? That was J-Lo inspired.
I remember. Can you believe that was July and we still are nowhere near that peak of weather?
I cannot. Don't even get me started, honestly. But the third thing that was amazing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close down the Diary of a Zone One Home, and it's going to auto save.
Yes.
And I'm going to neatly lead us to our next segment.
Oh my goodness, this is really exciting.
So today, Sunny, what we are talking about, we are going to talk about the Super Bowl halftime show in 2020, featuring Shakira and Jennifer Lopez, because this was part part of her trifecta of things that she did where she just like, you know, reached the nadir of excellence. I mean, like,
iconic
oh my God.
stage,
Like she really took it to the next step. This is like, you know, God tier stuff.
Yeah, it is. No, she's definitely made an indelible mark.
Exactly. So the only time you'll ever find us talking about American football is, of course, the Super Bowl halftime show. So if you've tuned in for American football, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to disappoint you.
Yeah, but there's a lovely podcast two rows down, so maybe you want to go and see them after you've listened to us.
Exactly, after you've listened to us.
Exactly. Now, for those who don't know, and don't worry, we aren't judging, the halftime show takes place during the annual championship final of the National Football League in America. And at halftime, there's a global superstar or two who put on a spectacle like no other, so that everyone doesn't fall asleep during the game, pretty much.
And it gives all the people that are not interested in the sport a reason to watch.
Exactly. We're just like, is it time for the halftime show yet or not? So the 2020 halftime show, as we know, featured global superstars Shakira and Jennifer Lopez with a performance that was a cultural reset of sorts. It was also, as one excellent YouTuber commented, the closing ceremony for the Earth for 2020. I mean, that hit us right in the feels. That is the best comment. After the Rihanna understudy, that's one of my top 3 comments.
That is the best.
It is the closing ceremony for the, and when you watch, oh my God. This show packed so much into 12 minutes that we felt it deserved a full frontal premium Zone 1 Ho discussion on it. By the way, if you want to know about the other times that we may possibly talk about American footballers and all things tackle, you'll need to subscribe to our OnlyFans.
You do indeed.
I'm so sorry. So, Sunny, what was your first impression of this halftime show and why was it instantly so iconic?
It was just the excitement that it was 2 iconic Latin American females that it's in that era again when we go back to all the things we've been unpacking from like late 90s, early 2000s. I just love J-Lo from like If You Had My Love and Shakira from Whenever, Wherever. And I just thought, wow, like these 2 huge, powerful females are coming together.
Yes.
And that was what I loved because I thought it could easily turn into, look, we're going to try and show each other up. And there was definitely some kind of friendly like rivalry there.
Yes.
But it felt like it was more about let's put on an incredible show. So I knew it was going to be an absolute visual spectacle. It was going to be beautiful in terms of what they were wearing, the choreography, because they are both epic dancers, aren't they? I know that they're singers too, but you know,
global superstars, they can do it all.
They can do it all. And I just thought they're going to look amazing. They're going to be incredible dancers. They're going to all these brilliant songs that are going to be like total throwbacks to, you know, early 2000s. That is just going to kind of make me really reminiscent. And then I thought, what are they going to do when they come together?
Yes.
So it was just this huge build-up of excitement. But yeah, I was so excited when I heard it was these guys.
Yeah, absolutely the same. I mean, I knew it was going to be amazing, but I didn't know how amazing it was going to be. Yeah. I didn't actually stay up to watch it, which is very unlike me. But I think the football would have sent me to sleep. But I had Sky Plus it, so the next day I remember watching it. And I remember I watched it once, and then I had to watch it again straight away because I was like, this is just too... Everything that you said is so spot on. I mean, either of them could have done the whole thing on their own. And they were so, like, every single... It's like a well-oiled engine. Like, you can take apart all the screws, all the kind of components of it, and every single feature of it is just absolute excellence. And the fact that they, you know, when they came together as well, when their voices sing together, and also like in that really important point you hit on, that these are both Latinas and they're both but and also the other thing as well, what I like about it is that you know, people may think of like Latin America or South America as some sort of monolith, and it's not, because obviously Shakira's from Colombia,
exactly,
and Jennifer Lopez is Puerto Rican, and they really infused their act with that flavor. I mean, Shakira even took it next level as well, because she also paid heritage to her Arab heritage.
Oh, with the belly dancing.
With the belly dancing. And then also she does the thing, you know.
I forgot. That's actually, when you asked me that question, I was meant to just go.
Which is like an amazing thing, which wards away the evil spirits. And I've actually been to occasions where that's happened. I remember a lot of Twitter users were kind of like making fun of it at first. But then when people understood like the kind of cultural kind of reference behind it, and I think that's another great thing about this whole their show in particular. It really was a gateway to like learning about another culture.
Yes.
It wasn't like a lot of people have called it, it's a showcase of Latino culture, and I would argue it's more of a gateway. It's not an actual showcase, because Latino culture is so much, not that we're experts on it.
It's like when people assume that Indian is the same as Pakistani or Bangladesh. It's like there's so much of a spectrum, and it's like you know, from an outsider's perspective, maybe if you're a bit ignorant, you wouldn't know. There is so much difference between
them, exactly. And I think that was just so important. And you know, this also as well, it was just like an excellent showcase. I mean, all the songs I listened to the so I've got a confession to make, which I'm going to make, you know, before the OnlyFans lounge, I know. But I watch this once a week, at least once a week. Before bed. Well, do you know, during the first lockdown, sorry to mention it, but I was watching this about nearly, I think there was one day where I was watching it every day, because this really got me through that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when I was feeling down, or I was feeling inactive, or I was just feeling quite, I don't know, just like I didn't know what I needed to focus, I would watch this, and I know it like the back of my hand now. Like, you know, if I was like on Quantum Leap, do you remember Quantum Leap?
I love Quantum Leap. Sam Beckett.
Yeah. Oh my god! So if I had a Sam Beckett moment, you drop me in as either Shakira or J Lo, I could pick up from wherever you put me
Your
in.
Ziggy, that phone, right? Yeah.
Literally,
that is so throwback.
It's a proper throwback. But you know what? I know this routine. I've studied it so well. I know which dancer's I need to hand my microphone to. Who's going to give me my poll? Who's going to pick up this?
Who's got their finger up your butt when they lift you up?
Where I've got to, you know, because I love, also, I mean, how iconic is it as well that Shakira does like a trust fall exercise in the middle of this? I mean, talk about like team building, like, you know, it's like a team building day out. Hey, let's perform at the halftime show, you know, and then like, let's just do a quick team building exercise. I'm going to crowd surf and you have to catch me. Oh my God.
I love that.
So
but you know
funny.
what, when you've just reminded me, one thing I noticed, and I don't know what you thought about this, when I was rewatching it again at lunchtime, because I don't have that close, like, I don't know it like the back of my head.
you didn't obsess over it like I have.
I wish I had now. I feel like, shit, I need to watch this more regularly.
You should watch it once a week.
You know what? It is like meditation. And when I see certain performances, like, or if I listen to a certain song, it does calm me when I'm like feeling tense or anxious. So I completely understand why you do that. And after watching it again today, I've realized, yes, I need to watch this more regularly. But I remember kind of when I came away from Shakira's performance, it felt like hers. And I don't want, this is not to slate J-Lo in any way at all, but she was just a bit more like playful and a bit more not down to earth is the wrong word, because I mean, actually no, it is the right word, because J-Lo definitely has a head in the sky in a good way, because she's a total diva, isn't she?
Yes.
But Shakira's was very much like, she played with a lot of different styles, and I felt like she wasn't taking herself too seriously, and she was a bit more fun with it, like doing that stuff like I know that it's a reference to something like the you know, that sound that she was making.
Arab heritage.
The Arab heritage. But I can't see J-Lo doing that. It felt like, I remember when they came together towards the end.
Yeah, for the Waka Waka.
Exactly. So then Shakira did a dance, and it was like really like, it was just very different. It wasn't too sexy, and it was kind of nice to have a non-sexy moment in it, even though I love watching that because it's so amazing. And you know, when you see hot females do that, especially
grabbing their vaginas,
it's like,
rubbing themselves.
It does nothing for me sexually, obviously, but I get really excited by it. I'm like, oh my God, yay, I want to be like that.
Just like grab that potato.
Exactly. It's like, we want to be like that. But then when I saw J-Lo follow her Shakira up, she was just like like going for it. I thought, oh, it's so nice to have an option there. And it's not J-Lo did the sexy better than Shakira. It's not about that. They gave you choice.
Yes.
Because that's one thing I'm trying not to do. When you know what it's like when you grow up and you have your favorites, and I used to do that, or pit them against one another. Yeah. I've realized, you know what, everyone can win.
Yeah.
Let just celebrate yours. Yours is the best for what you like.
Yes.
Let someone else be the best for what they like. And that's why it didn't feel like they were competing against one another. It was like, look, let me be the best at this, you be the best at that. Exactly.
Their energies really complement each other. And I think also, I understand exactly what you're trying to say. And having done a PhD on this, having watched it non-stop.
Let's refer to your thesis.
Let's refer to my thesis. So if you go to page 344,
that's the footnote?
That's appendix 1, girl. There's like a million other appendixes. But I think as well, it goes back to J-Lo's Americanness, you know, because J-Lo was brought up in the Bronx. True. And J-Lo's performance inherently feels a lot more American. There's almost like a kind of, in the tradition of like, you know how like Beyonce, when she did those kind of marching bands and things like that. J-Lo's has that kind of high school kind of, you know, that feel to it, that very American kind of.
I do see
like cheerleading and very polished and very
that high school kind of
energy, and gloss and visual, and very much kind of like, oh yeah, we're going to do this. Come on, America.
Very like patriotic, isn't it? Yeah.
Whereas Shakira's feels more bohemian, more organic.
Exactly what I thought.
Yeah, and then so it's almost like, but again, the way they managed to kind of fuse those together and complement one another is the biggest achievement.
I love that,
because I can't think of, it's very like, although we've got so many amazing female duets. So if you think of like Gaga and Beyonce, Brandy and Monica, hello, all the Lady Marmalade girls, all of that. But it's very hard to fuse this energy for something like this, because also it's so athletic as well. Like they are leveling non-stop. Like J-Lo's climbing up and down poles and swinging around and dance, and they've got that moving platform. Shakira uses all the space. I mean, like her spatial awareness teacher must be so proud. Like I taught her to use all the space.
She did. She's like, I ain't wasting any of it. Everyone's getting seen.
Exactly, every inch of that. And like as the closing ceremony of the earth, like every inch was covered. Like especially with COVID, because like when they go and like touch the audience, I'm just like, no, go and sanitize your hands. Or when the dancers are like, oh, you sanitize your hands. But, oh goodness me!
But how many people were on stage as well?
Yes,
it was incredible to see. I mean, at one point it felt a little bit like a zombie apocalypse. I was like, you know what? They are running on the stage. I think it was towards the end when they all kind of come together around Shakira. I was like, the amount of effort it must have taken to obviously choreograph the entire performance, not just them two, everyone around,
everybody else. And what's wonderful about it is that, because again, thanks to my forensic study of it, all the dancers are incredible. Not a single dancer drops the beat at all, and the dancers are so as always, dancers are always a very fundamental part of it, but here they're so involved because they're passing the mic. Like there's times, and they need to pass props to J-Lo when she does the get right,
and there's no getting that wrong.
Exactly.
You better get it right.
You better get it right, yeah. Because also as well, when she's swinging around the pole, she's relying on those guys to hold her.
Hold her huge ass up.
Literally, there's a bit.
You better not drop me.
When she sings the note, she's like, tonight, oh. And you see the guy on the left just like, oh, that really hurts. Like, get on me. And then it finishes like waiting for it. But you know what? She doesn't even finish the song because the backing track kicks in and they immediately let her off.
Please put it down. Put me down.
But the transitions are just too funny, honestly.
God.
So why do you think, I mean, we're talking about this already, but why do you think this Super Bowl set the standard for future shows?
I think it's just that combination of the songs that, two different, I mean, even though they are both female artists, but they have such a different genre, don't they, in terms of the music. And then also having a lot of featured rappers come on stage. The element with the kids as well, I thought that was interesting as well.
Very good. Well, I'm so glad so you know what that's all about, don't you?
No,
did you read my thesis? Because you were meant to submit your notes back on it. I'm still waiting.
You will be able to articulate it way better than me, so I will let you.
Exactly. I see that in your to read pile. Okay, well, I will take over from here. So obviously this was during Trump as president.
Oh, God.
And do you remember he was putting children from South America who were trying to cross over to North America into cages, and it was a very political statement. So and also then she has her own daughter who performs with her in the cage as well, like in the beginning when she starts to sing and then the song that she's singing, obviously Let's Get Loud, which we need to come to again in a second, but Let's Get Loud, and then obviously Born in the USA, which talks about her own experience, and then she talks about Latinos, and she's wearing the amazing flag which has the US flag on the outside, and then on the inside is the Puerto Rican flag. And I think the political semblance of that moment, because this was at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. So if you've ever been to Miami, humble brag alert. If you've ever been to Miami, I mean, my favorite comment, I once met this lovely lady from Venezuela in Miami. In the shop, I was in the mall, don't worry. It was all, we were in the mall and I somehow ended up in conversation, as I do. That's what my life is like. I just end up in conversation with random people. She was actually a private detective. She was amazing.
Oh, wow.
I know.
You should have got her number.
I should have. You know what? Because she had literally just spied from someone. I think we were both sitting at Starbucks. And she was literally like, she sat, because there was no other table free, so she's like, can I sit on your table? And this was back in 2014, 2015. And she was saying to me that Miami is like, although it's in America and it's American dollars, she said this is the least American city. The road signs and everything is American, but everything else is Latino. And it's so true, because the language mainly spoken was Spanish, and it was just wonderful. I absolutely loved it. So the fact that they were holding their halftime, the two Latino global superstars holding their show there, and then B, doing this political statement in the middle of kind of really, really powerful, because apparently Jay-Z tried to stop J-Lo from doing it.
Why?
So I can't remember exactly. I mean, it's in my thesis somewhere. I think it's in one of the appendix B or something, but I think it's to do with management or something. But apparently Jay-Z was trying to dissuade J-Lo from doing that. He was saying, don't put the political thing in there because you'll kind of mar the show, and that's all people will talk about. But I'm so glad that she did, because her message was amplified. I mean, the whole world saw that. And the fact that what she says is so powerful as well. She said, let's get loud. Like even afterwards she said, I want ladies come and speak up for yourselves, and
I like that,
come into your power, which was amazing. And then Latinos as well, because Latinos are discriminated against and so much. much. So it was just such a real. I think that's when when we talk about cultural reset.
Yes.
That's the kind of stuff we're talking about, which is so good.
And that's what takes it to another level, doesn't it? Because it's on the front, it is really like eye-watering. You're like, oh my goodness, this is beautiful. But there's a message and a story behind it that is going to be taken away, and it will be reflected on in the future. And if you think about it, she did "Let's Get Loud" at Biden's inauguration.
Well, this is what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that. I mean, that is entirely what we would do as well. Like at the inauguration, we'd kind of be like,
nice look back, isn't it? To say, look, it was shit back then, but now look.
I mean, that we would totally drop the podcast is mine like at the end of our inauguration speech.
Hashtag.
Exactly.
The podcast is mine.
We hope you've enjoyed listening to the podcast. That's exactly what we would do at the inauguration. But no, it's become a really powerful anthem, you know. And also, can we talk about the set list, the songs?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, can we go through some of them? Because for
Absolutely.
each, it was like when I was like hearing Shakira's initially for the first time, I was like, you know what, they have so many hits.
Well, this is what we were talking about. That they could have easily done the show themselves. On their own.
Was it ever meant to be that way?
I don't think so. I think when it was always announced, that J-Lo and Shakira are going to be both doing.
Okay, so let's unpack that little documentary on her ex-husband's YouTube, because that made
ex-fiance. They didn't get married.
Ex-fiance, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to come to A-Rod. Let's quickly run through the songs.
Yeah.
So obviously She-Wolf, which is amazing. Which, I mean, what an opener as well. Like,
that video.
They even start in wolf formation. Do you notice that?
Yes. Oh my God, that video is my favorite Shakira video. How amazing does she look when she's in the cage? I mean, it's always a different context of the cage. It's not. Sorry.
Yeah, it wasn't political there.
It definitely was not political. She looked amazing in that video. The way she was hanging around in it, I was like,
so good. And also, I didn't realize how much it was all about female sexuality. And like now, when I listen to it after having done my PhD, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is when she's like starting to feel used like a coffee machine in an office. And I used to think about that line. I often think about that line when I have a quiet moment. And I was like, that is, oh my God, this is about female sex, and this is about a woman taking ownership of her sexual kind of prowess and just giving it, I just love it. I mean,
I just remember trying to redo the video on the end of my bed and feeling like I'm going to break the bed because there was nothing to hang from.
Well, that's on message. That's on point. That's what the song is about. And then I love at the end of the video, when she like pretends she's asleep.
Oh, and then she
opens
falls
her
back.
eyes. I always do that.
And she's always barefoot.
Yeah.
That's why I love Shakira. She gets it reminds me of it's like in our world is obviously Asia. So I just kind of think there's so much of a parallel sometimes.
Yeah,
do you think?
Universal kind of like traits.
Take shoes off and just go, have a cool time.
Or drop into like a native language or something like that.
It's really nice.
It's really cool. And then she sings Empire, which is another one of her songs.
Yes.
And then Kashmir by Led Zeppelin. So Shakira is a huge rock fan.
Yeah.
So I love that she pops some rock in there as well. Whenever, wherever.
That's so iconic.
Ever.
That was when she really made a breakthrough into like pop world, isn't it? And outside of Latin America.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Then she does I Like It Like That, which is Cardi B.
Yes.
Which is and how amazing is this then that J-Lo and Shakira actually featured another artist, prominent Latina artist in their. I mean, who else does that? Nobody else does that, honestly. And then there's she performs with Bad Bunny. Now I didn't know who Bad Bunny was before the Super Bowl, so obviously part of my thesis I went to go and research. And I
and you met
him. Exactly. I wanted to meet. I saw him on Jimmy Fallon, but I just think he's absolutely brilliant. Like his personal style, he's very and again he's very political as well. He's very vocal about his politics, and I love that.
No, and that's what we need, isn't it? We need really good examples of people raising that awareness and bringing that message to the young audience,
and using their platform, and especially
cause,
empowering others like themselves. Like I just think I just love that. It's just so amazing. And then there's a song called Chantaye. I apologize to all our Spanish listeners. My Spanish is dreadful, but I love that song so much as well. Which is one of his songs. And again, look, they're featuring somebody else's song as part of. They
featured my song next as well.
Oh, did they? Oh, Hips Don't Lie. You were like the Candy on that song when you wrote that for her.
You know what? I definitely get royalties for that song.
Every time it plays, you're just like ching ching
in the club. I bust out to that.
Literally, you go to the DJ. You play it. And then you check your bank balance. Oh my God, that's so funny. And then obviously Hips Don't Lie, finish it, and then and that's 6 minutes.
You know what? It felt in a good way. It felt longer because they managed.
Girl, that feels like 2 minutes for me now because I've watched it so much. I'm just like, oh my God, so this is coming, and then I forget that, like, you know, because I don't have the ad-free YouTube yet, so it's only the ads that bring me back to reality. If it wasn't, I would just think, oh, that's 2 minutes gone, or that's 3 minutes gone, or whatever. But then we go to J-Lo. So J-Lo is then positioned on top of the Empire State Building, and some people cruelly called it her King Kong moment. I know, it's so shady.
Oh no! You know, I love YouTube comments.
Honestly, it's a rabbit hole. Honestly, it really is. You get lost down there. But she said it was meant to symbolize her being on top of the world, and obviously it was meant to be the Chrysler Building. No, sorry, the Empire State Building.
But that reference is awful.
I know, it's so cruel. But then, I mean, look at this like a lineup. So Jenny from the Block, Ain't It Funny, Get Right, and then those dancers. God. We will come to those dancers in a second.
Yes, and the outfits.
Oh my God, the harnesses and what are you doing to us?
So we've just got it on in the background as well.
And
it's just
playing on loop, and we are just watching it. See, because the other great thing about J-Lo's costume is that particular costume references Selena, who was.
Did she play Selena?
I think she did, and I think
in the movie, wasn't it?
Yes, and I think she was one of the premier Latina superstars who broke the kind of Western market.
Assassinated, wasn't it? At a concert?
Yes, I think so. To be honest with you, I need to do a deeper dive into that.
Oh, that wasn't your thesis.
That wasn't my thesis. No.
Oh, I found the fail.
You found it. You found the flaw in my algorithm. Damn it, you broke my code. Damn it. But all the outfits were inspired by that. The first segment inspired that. But then J-Lo then moves on to what we were talking about in the Diary of a Zone 1 Home. With, you know, so Waiting for Tonight. I mean, what?
That is my favourite J-Lo. I'm sorry, I'm so triggered whenever someone says that song. I'm sorry, I jumped out of my seat because that is my favourite. Favourite song.
Isn't it? Doesn't it just remind the best bit in that video is when like the Millennium Bug hits and everything goes
I know.
And then Waiting for Tonight.
Because I'm sure this is the next recommendation because they know YouTube knows me. It's like,
on the algorithm, honestly. But the whole Waiting for Tonight, and then it's got the Versace print there to kind of symbolize that whole
green lasers.
Yeah,
I can't believe that. It doesn't. When you watch that video, you don't think back to Millennium Bug days, but that's the whole time. That was ancient, and it doesn't age. It doesn't.
Badly. That song still could have been released yesterday. But what's also amazing about the whole Waiting for Tonight bit is also she plays homage to Hustlers, where she climbs up the pole. Yes. So, and did I mention she has a costume change as well?
Oh God!
So she gets rid of the leather catsuit and she's wearing a sequin catsuit, which I'll talk about in a bit. But she climbs up the pole and then she looks like at this point, the Oscars were meant to be at that point as well, like the Oscars for that year. And the Oscars snubbed J-Lo. They didn't give her a nomination for Best Supporting Actress.
For which film?
For Hustlers.
Okay, yeah.
And which was an absolute travesty because that is one of the best roles that she's ever done, and she deserved it.
And she's a good actress, you know.
She is, like, Out of Sight. There's so many good films that she's done.
Anaconda.
My Anaconda don't. That's Nicki Minaj.
I love Anaconda. You know what? My first memory of Anaconda is when I was in India.
Oh my God,
it's such a smash hit there, isn't it?
You totally triggered me. That's exactly what I was going to say.
I was in India. I remember when this is the back in the day when we went as a family, and it was when we were teenagers. And I remember we hired a driver, because this is the problem with India. When you fly there, it's still like another trek. Forget the flight. That's the shortest part of the journey. And then I remember we didn't manage to get a flight into Amritsar.
Yeah.
We went to Delhi.
Yeah.
And then we had to do a massive drive. And we were in the car. The driver had a little flip down screen in his van.
That's so bougie.
Whatever. It was like, wow. I was like, this is nice. So I remember sitting there and everyone was exhausted. It was like late at night. It was so dark.
And then you get on the GT road.
Oh, I don't know what road it was, but it felt like it was Gran Turismo.
Yeah, that's GT. What it is. The GT road. So the GT road is like this long kind of like, you know, like the Proclaimers 500 miles. Oh. If you're Punjabi, you know about the GT road because that's the road from Delhi to Punjab. It's just like basically just going down the A40. Just
oh my God, it was so long and it was so dark and we would drive past so many accidents.
Yeah.
And I remember just thinking, feeling panicked. And my mum's brothers, my uncles, got a car hire business. So he had like chosen a really good driver. So we were like, we wanted to feel safe because you know what it's like in India. It's like some of the driving is not like the safety.
All of the driving is not
I know,
safe.
I'm trying to be politically correct.
It's a spectrum. It's just all bad.
I remember when I first was at a car, my first memory is when instead of indicating around a corner, you just beep keep your eye on the corner. You don't stop.
You're just like, get out of the way, bitch.
Come in. I remember we were driving down the road and I was like so panicked. I was just this like so many accidents on the side of the road, and then Anaconda is on, and the drive,
I took you away from it all.
I was like, I don't know what I'm more triggered by, the traffic or Anaconda. But then the driver was watching Anaconda so intently, and I was like, Mom, and it was like, Albert, Mom and Dad were exhausted. Yeah. They were so tired. I've got pictures of it. I'm gonna have to find these pictures. They were wearing flip flops, and I think from the airline, the flight, their feet were so swollen. We were taking pictures of their swollen feet. This is the craziest stuff me and my brother were doing in the car, triggered back to back, and everyone kept falling asleep. And I was like, I need to keep my eyes on the road because the driver was watching.
The driver clearly wasn't.
He was watching Anaconda.
Oh my
Anyway, we got there and we managed to get through that movie as well.
Made it a lot. It's so funny because I was going to say exactly the same thing. In India, my cousin was like, do you want to watch an English movie? So the English movie, and he pulled out 3 films. So Anaconda was one of them. Can you guess what the other 2 was? Like, I'll give you a quick
Okay.
name. So one was
Indiana Jones?
No. So one featured Kate Winslet, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, my damn it.
And they were literally like, my heart will go on. It's such a beautiful song. And I was like, it's basically a Bollywood song in English.
Yeah.
That's why everyone loves it so much.
And it's the same amount of time, so they're getting the same value that they usually used to.
And then what was the third film? It was just something. It was it was Fast and Furious. And again,
The GT Road.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just like, so basically, this is just you driving to get a pint of milk or something. Honestly. Oh, it's just absolutely crazy.
That was a huge segue.
Anyway,
But you know what?
Yeah, you can see what kind of mood we're in today. Honestly,
We are not keeping on topic.
We are not
Let's
keeping
go
on topic.
back to the topic.
So back to the topic. So J-Lo's doing this Versace kind of inspired, this whole amazing set. So the songs were Waiting for Tonight, Booty, and then Mi Gente is called as well, which is by J Balvin. So Joe Balvin's the rapper who comes in, and again another Latina rapper, which is amazing. And then J-Lo goes into another segment, which is On the Floor.
Oh, I love that song so
Which is just
much.
so good.
Reminds me of clubs.
And the best thing about the that segment as well is like it's kind of like it's very like that was for the gays without a doubt. Like
I mean, all of it was for the
all
gays,
of
to
it
be
was.
honest.
But that segment in particular, you can see there's kind of like a rainbow infusion to the lights. Guys are all wearing harnesses, or it's just something very like powerful about that moment.
Definitely.
And then it builds up to the finale. So we have the Let's Get Loud and the Born in the USA.
Yes.
And then we have the finale of Let's Get Loud, and then they have everything. They have a World Cup song, Waka Waka, like it's for the football, soccer World Cup,
Oh god!
And it's just exactly. And what's so funny about that? It's just like I just love that in an American football game they're singing about the World Cup. Singing about another kind of form of art. I mean, that playlist on its own, like it's available
you
on
didn't even
Spotify.
need to do all the other stuff. It would have just been
It's a no skip playlist. You
Yeah.
could just listen to that and just go through it all, and even the songs you don't know, you will soon learn to love. Like it's so.
And you better
so
love
good.
them. Yeah.
Exactly. And so, can we talk a bit about the outfits? Because,
I was hoping you were going to say that.
Excuse me. Can I please talk to you a minute? Do you even know who I am? How are we not going to talk about the outfits and the hair and the makeup? And oh my god! So Shakira's wearing these amazing outfits by Peter Dundas. He's like this.
Who's that? Tell us about him.
So he's a Norwegian. Oh, well, I'm so glad you asked. I'm not going to share my reason. No, so he is the Norwegian designer, and he's
Appendix 4.
Yeah, exactly. So if you all turn, this is like Line of Duty. I don't know if you watch Line of Duty. But
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you haven't seen it? Oh, basically. So anyone who's watched Line of Duty, it's like if you go to slide blah blah blah, or if you go to that there's briefings. Basically, like go to slide 5, please. Slide 7. Next slide, please. Next slide. So Peter Dundas is a Norwegian designer. He's designed for Roberto Cavalli and he's designed for Pucci. He's done so many, and he designed both of Shakira's costumes. So the amazing red numbers that she wears a red 2-piece, and it's got like a kind of tail behind it, and then
she kind of adjusts it, doesn't she?
So halfway through when she does I Like It Like That, she takes it off and she turns. There's this bit on the side that she just like kind of twists around really awkwardly, and then suddenly it covers her stuff. But she looks absolutely incredible in that. Then J-Lo's wearing custom Versace, and like
obviously
the amount of costume changes are just incredible, like, and how quickly they're done as well.
That is a real quick change.
So quick. So you can see like J-Lo's wearing like the kind of silver beaded cat suit underneath the leather cat suit that she's already wearing. So apparently the cat suit underneath is all Swarovski crystals, and took over 30 people who worked on it like tirelessly.
I think they were taking their time. I bet were they all straight men.
Can you imagine? Yeah, exactly. It's like 2
Back to
hours.
5 minutes.
Put the Swarovski on there. Oh, I'm tired. Right, I'm going home for the day.
One's fallen off over here. Let's do it again.
It's like, yeah, I'm feeling tired. I can't come into work today. Can you imagine? But then, so they did all of her costumes, and then also the American flag was custom. You know that.
Oh, that flag is beautiful.
Again, Versace and Swarovski crystals, just incredible. And then like the hair as well. So now, have you looked up J-Lo's hairdresser?
Who is it?
Chris Appleton.
Who is that?
Right, I'm going to send it to you afterwards.
Oh my goodness.
But he's kind
You
of
need to post this as
yeah.
well.
Oh, I will. Don't worry. He's he's responsible for J-Lo's amazing mane of hair, which could have done Super Bowl all on its own. I mean, that hair is just like wild.
You know what? It had its own set list.
It did. You know, because the first thing I saw, even before I saw the performance, yeah, no, because you know on Instagram, someone that popped up first, and it was just her like kind of rehearsing, watching Shakira's set, and I was like, she looks phenomenal, and you know, and this gorgeous mane of hair, and it's just incredible. Like it just stays. It doesn't like it has movement.
It's a big wig.
It has no, it's her hair.
That ain't her hair.
It is, girl.
No, it can't be. Really?
Seriously, they showed like the way they did it. They used all this product and stuff. I think there must have been some help. There's some,
some help. Oh come on! You know that is not all hair.
You know, like like in shampoo adverts when they're like some extensions some of them may have been used. You know, the small print, but
and then they come in and it's like 10 girls from like some poor stricken country that have had to chop their hair off for this.
I know. Oh, they've got virgin hair as they call it. Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
dear.
But her hair is incredible. And Chris Appleton, so he's British, and he actually did Rihanna's understudies hair as well. But then he got the call from J-Lo, and it's such an iconic look.
No, it is.
If you think about it, they had to create these looks that were going to be mega iconic, and they are.
Oh no, all of them.
And then even when they finish up both like in the silver and gold, that's such a gorgeous moment as well.
Yeah.
And then the backing dancers are all wearing like the harnesses, and they're all wearing Versace. They're all Versace.
Versace harnesses were amazing.
Versace harnesses. You see the little Medusa logo on there, and then
I didn't notice the Medusa logo.
Girl, you did this one.
Yes,
You
this
read
is
my thesis.
Appendix 5.
Exactly. This is Appendix 7 now. Keep up, dear. But even the dancers have to do as many costume changes as J-Lo and Shakira do.
They've probably got separate dancers for each, or are they the same ones?
No, they're the same ones. So it's really amazing. You see the dancers come back and they've changed their clothes, and these are not easy clothes to get in and out of. And they had to change on the field because you can't run back to your changing room.
That's a good point. It must have been under the stage.
Yeah, there's all the staging. So if you watch if we come to those A-Rod videos,
yes, we do.
So
we need to talk about that.
For anyone who doesn't know, so A-Rod, who was J-Lo's at time of recording, her ex-fiance, and also we're very glad that she
I love how you say that at the time of recording in case she goes back.
She better not go back to. Although apparently, just a quick segue, she apparently is dating Ben Affleck again.
Bennifer.
Exactly. Well, I'm here for this. I loved Bennifer, and I blame Gwyneth Paltrow and.
Is that what happened?
Well, I blame all the shady kind of LA girls who kind of didn't want it to happen because they're racist. They didn't want like a gorgeous Latina take this all-American hero. But Matt Damon approves, so that's the most important thing.
Oh my God, are they still best friends?
Yeah, of course.
I love that.
Well, they're besties, BFFs. But A-Rod, so A-Rod is a baseball player apparently, and
I only found that out after I got a recommendation to watch the background of this performance.
And it's only because he mentions it a million times. He is the perfect example of what a man should not do.
No.
When you are the less successful in a
let her shine.
Like your lady is shining beautifully and amazingly, and there is nothing you can do
just
to
sit down,
match it.
please.
Exactly. Just sit there and admire it like the rest of us. Just admire your queen.
Enjoy your
queen.
moment because it ain't gonna last.
Well, it's gone now. It's over now. And for some reason, it's posted on his YouTube channel and not J-Lo's.
This is the thing that frustrated me, and the other thing that bothered me. I don't know how you felt about this. Why was there no reference or acknowledgement of Shakira in that whole entire video?
Yes, so
it made it seem like she wasn't there.
Exactly. But I thought that was really weird as well. And
It's shady.
Very shady. And I remember in 2020 as well, J-Lo on her Instagram posted this post about for International Women's Day, which is like a month later, I think, because this was in February and then obviously March.
This is 2020 again.
2020, yes.
Just before COVID.
Just before closing ceremony of the Earth, remember?
Wow.
2020. And she posted all these amazing inspirational women that she had been paired with, and she put Shakira last in the carousel, and I was like, J-Lo, that's not very nice. I mean, you guys have just done a cultural reset, and there you are.
So wait a minute, help me understand that. So she was the last in terms of most important in that reference. So for the
So on Instagram, she posted 10 pictures, and the first picture was like of J-Lo with like Michelle Obama, and then there was like one with Beyonce, and then there was one with was it one with Gaga? I can't remember who else there was. Then there's one with her mother, but then the Shakira one came later on, and I thought, well, actually, you guys have just done this amazing show together. You think I don't know if I was reading too much into it.
Maybe because I was just thinking, was that meant to be ranked in order of significance or something? But it's not. It's just that she.
Maybe it was just around.
Someone's got to be last.
Exactly, but poor Shax, honestly, come on, she deserves better. But then I was really pissed off that she wasn't in the A-Rod video, because I would have loved to have seen those moments of collaboration.
No, I think that's not. I think it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, these performers are so used to being competitive and wanting to stand out and be at the center of the tension that it must be difficult to share a stage as well. And there's that innate sense of wanting to be the one that stands out and is remembered. And that's what I took away from that YouTube video that I was watching of A-Rod. He was just trying to make out that she was the one that was, doing this performance by herself. I was like, I kept thinking when they kept doing the countdown, I was like, they're going to say in a minute, oh, we're going to ask Shakira to join us. I thought, oh, maybe she came in last minute, and then it was like 5 hours before. I was like, wow, they really asked Shakira to join this late, didn't they? I was like, oh, no, they're just not referencing Shakira at all.
At all. And I don't know if that was could that have been a decision on Shakira's management's part, where they were like, no, we don't want any part in this? Or could it be or maybe
they could have at least said, by the way, this is a duet.
Or could it have been that they're just like, A-Rod is an a-hole, so we were just
I think it's the latter.
Do you know what I mean? And they were just like, we just don't want to deal with him at all, so don't mention Shakira, and just for a quiet life, because this video is buried, thank God for my thesis, otherwise I never would have known.
I got it recommended to me. YouTube knows.
I probably sent it with the algorithm. So thinking of all the halftime shows that you've ever seen, so what is your favorite one, and why is it this one?
It's definitely this one. I think the other ones that I have really enjoyed, and I'm just thinking back to, we just talked about The Writings on the Wall, didn't we?
Of course.
And when I was
we haven't mentioned that. Oh my God, what's wrong with us?
Exactly. We've got a reference. It's only 2 degrees of separation with Destiny's Child for some reason.
So for those who just joined us, we have to mention that we did a great deep dive into The Writings on the Wall, and now it's infused into everything we do.
Everything else.
It was always there before. It was ever present.
I mean, the writing was on the wall, which is insane.
Thou shalt mention it every time.
But I remember watching the video of Kelly on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen.
Oh yes.
And he asks her about it, doesn't he? He was like, oh, what do you tell us about your experience on this, coming onto the stage with Beyonce, because Beyonce was doing the performance, wasn't she?
That was the 2013
and they were invited on. But what I thought was, I don't know if we talked about this last time, but what was shady is when Destiny's Child were obviously introduced, I think Beyonce was doing a little bit of J-Lo.
Oh yeah.
Because when they have those little slots where they pump people out of the stage, and I remember Kelly and Michelle looking like they were fearing for their life. They were like, God, we have been shot 50 meters into this air. We are not going to land on our feet. We have got to do our best to not fall on our faces. And I thought they were setting them up, but they both, thank God, but they looked terrified.
Well, I think Kelly recovers faster than
Michelle is still floating while Kelly's falling.
Michelle, literally, you can tell she shat her pants at that. She was. That moment it really is that moment.
I reminded it so many times.
When you see, because you see Kelly recovers, so Kelly's up in midair and she's like,
and then
my core kicks in and she's just like,
and Michelle's just like,
and Michelle's like, oh shit,
she's still squatting 5 minutes later.
You know what it reminds me of? I don't know if you ever did this at home, but you know when you used to scare your mum, and your mum gets scared and she has that moment, oh my God, it's literally.
But don't you think that was shady? Because they clearly would have done that in rehearsals and been like, yeah, we need one of these girls to fall.
No, absolutely. And then and to add insult to injury, Beyonce just powers down the runway
because they didn't shoot her out of a hole, did
they? And I mean, but what a moment that was.
That was amazing.
That was an incredible moment. I loved.
Which other ones did you like?
I love the Lady Gaga in 2015. So Beyonce was meant to do meant to do Super Bowl that year, but she was pregnant, so she didn't. So then Lady Gaga stepped in, and Lady Gaga is just again, she's like one of our spirit animals. She starts on the top of the stadium and then jump parachutes. That's exactly the kind of shit that we would pull.
Exactly.
We would literally go somewhere and be like, so can we jump off that and land into oh my gosh. But I remember we were so inspired by that that my dance teacher, every week we used to have like a dance class, and we used to have the song announced in advance. But he saw that and he was so inspired.
He's like,
by
we
what
aren't
he
doing
saw.
that.
Yeah, he literally said, right, yeah, we're not doing what's on the timetable, we're doing Gaga today. I don't care what anyone said. And I think we did Born This Way, and it was just like, was it Born? Yeah, we did Born This Way. And it was one of my best dance classes ever. It was so good. Unfortunately, Instagram taken down the video due to copyright reasons. But it was one of my favorite. It was so good, honestly.
Yeah, if I think anyone else that would want to do it, and I'd love to see Pink do it.
Now this is what I was going to say.
I actually, I was watching an interview because she just won the Icon Award, didn't she? For
the Billboard Awards,
I know, which I was so excited. And she's doing loads of press around her show as well that she's just on Prime. And she was asked that question on Watch What Happens Live with Andy, and he was like, "Oh, would you ever do the Super Bowl halftime show?" And she's like, "I was asked to do it, and I turned it down." And it was a shame because she said the reason she turned it down that year in particular, I think she was meant to do 2019, and it was in Atlanta, and that's where she kind of got signed as a record deal.
Of course.
But she was like, she really wanted to step back from it that year because she thought it should be a celebration of all of the incredible rapper talent coming out of Atlanta. I can't remember who actually did.
Do you remember who they did?
Who was 29?
Maroon 5.
Exactly. And
Adam
I think
Levine.
so what she said, and the other thing that so that obviously frustrated her, I imagine.
It frustrates me.
It still frustrates
how
everyone.
Basic do you get, like Maroon 5, honestly.
Exactly. And then I thought, and then she said the other reason she didn't want to do it is she said, I feel like no one can win at it anymore. And this is what I'm really glad that we've just been looking at, like, and focusing on all the great things about their performance, because it is really easy to nitpick and say, oh, but they didn't do this, they didn't do that, or people were nitpicking about Beyonce's, or we were joking around about Kelly and
being fired out.
I mean, that was hilarious. That is an iconic moment in it. But I feel like that's what happens a lot, doesn't it? People just want to find a reason to nitpick and like find holes in it, and I think that's a shame because I really want to see Pink do. I think she would do so much amazing aerial stuff in that performance.
I completely agree, and I think Pink's also now got the back cat. Well, she's always had. She's got such a range of songs.
Huge.
She's a global superstar. And
icon.
I mean, I love that. I saw a clip from that documentary, and I saw when she was like being thrown around Wembley on like a wire.
I remember that performance.
You were actually there, weren't you? Yeah. And I just think that was just to me, like, she's one of those people again who just steps out. She
gives you more than you deserve.
Yes, and she always brings that. She is that girl who gets an A star because she brings an extra. She like an A is not good enough for her, and I think all the girls. Women. Sorry if I said girls. I didn't mean it in that way. But I mean, like, all the women who we really, really admire do that. They just bring something extra. And not only that, we didn't know we needed it, but then as soon as we see it, we want it.
We're like that, and we almost feel entitled sometimes. And that's what I feel is a shame, that it's putting people off wanting to do a big show like that because they're just ready for the criticism.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, once again, if we refer to the YouTube comments,
oh god,
so many people talk about, Shakira was brilliant, and then somebody will say, but what really surprised me is there is a lot of hate for J-Lo. So I remember J-Lo performed at the AMA Awards earlier this year.
Yes.
And her look was very similar to Beyonce's Drunk in Love. And there was kind of like a Chicago, the musical kind of tribute. And I remember I tweeted about this and I got retweeted like 800 times. I had to literally mute my notifications because people started fighting in my mentions. So they were like,
what was it over?
So I put J-Lo, I thought, there was a clip of it, of her performance, and I reposted that, and I put, J-Lo is fantastic, what an amazing performance, I love the Chicago Beyonce vibes. Yeah. And then some people were agreeing with me, and then some people were like, she's completely copied Beyonce. And then people would start off very respectfully with each other, no, actually it's called inspiration, look it up. And then the fight would quickly, it's like, what do you know about music? No, you don't know. And I was like, oh my God, I was like, excuse me, I'm still tagged in here, do you want to untag me? And I literally had to mute that. So, do you know what I did? You're going to love this. I promoted our podcast. I attached our podcast to it, and then I promoted, and then I literally muted it because I was like, I was going to make sure, I was like, if you guys are going to talk about this, then we
want to get somebody likes out of it.
Let some steam off. Listen to the podcast is mine.
But the thing is, I know what it's. You know what? People are really passionate about the ones that they love, and I've done that. But I've just realised that look, it just doesn't help anything, does it? It's like it's not constructive. And actually, why don't you just let someone else enjoy their own?
Just have their moment. Exactly. Let them. So would you say Pink is your fantasy halftime show?
I'd love it. I hope she can reconsider it if there's like a time where it's appropriate, because she would completely nail it. I know she would.
I completely agree. I think for me, I would love to see something like a K-pop special.
Oh my goodness.
Or a Bollywood special, which is your kryptonite.
Oh my God. I'm trying to find how that tenuous link works.
I know. Well, Priyanka Chopra Jonas is a big name, and don't forget she launched her single In My City. at an NFL game. So could happen. Or how about a drag special?
Oh my!
Can you imagine all the iconic drag
I
queens?
would love to see that. I just worry that it would never be accepted.
Well, this is the thing. I think if it depends on the organisers. If they're brave enough to do it, I think we could see that would be another. Because I think
Could you imagine the outcry though?
Oh, look at the backlash that this one got. Like, you know, people were like, "Oh, it's too sexy. The costumes are too revealing." I mean, Adam Levine can walk around shirtless in, flash his tattoos or what have you. But and you know, Justin Timberlake can expose Janet Jackson. I was just going to say,
we need to unpack that as well. How actually a lot of the time, this has kind of really been unpacked recently, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Like how it's such a double standard. Like Justin, I mean, I like him too, but he got away with that. And Janet's career was really...
Well, this is the thing. Janet copped the most for it. When we talk about Britney, we're going to come back to this, readers. Don't worry. It's on the manifesto. So when it's on the manifesto, it gets talked about. Don't you worry.
We need to talk about that.
Exactly. So anyway, listen, I'm going to take it to the bridge now. In our opinion, the 2020 halftime show is arguably amongst the best we have ever seen, and certainly has set the standard for the rest of the shows that will take place in the 20s. If every show can capture the brilliance and skill that this particular show had, this may even make us take a bit interest in football. Actually, just get rid of the football. Exactly. Just get rid of the football and do halftime shows every week instead, honestly. All right, girl. Well, I think we should go to the OnlyFans lounge.
Yes,
so let's grab our Clinks link.
And it's quite busy in here now that we've sold our rights to this.
It really does look like the Hustlers. Kind of, they've recreated that set beautifully, haven't they? So I think I'll be swinging around
get off that pole.
That's yours. That's mine. Excuse me. Can I please still swing with it?
The pole is mine.
Exactly. So you know, what do you think would be your worst ever halftime show?
My worst. I'm trying to think of. You know, I even saw another quick clip, and this is not a slight. It's not my worst, but I just saw MJ's performance. He did it. No, and it wasn't awful, but it was just so. And I just thought there's so many that I haven't seen.
Yes.
That I really want to go back to. I'm trying to think who would. Maybe Maroon 5. I think. I didn't watch it.
I mean, did you see this year's The Weeknd?
I mean, I do like The Weeknd.
I do,
but I haven't seen it because I didn't feel that it compelled to see it, to go watch it.
Well, what was really silly about it is that he spent so much money on it, and unfortunately there was like only a couple of moments. And then the biggest thing was Blinding Lights, which was another big feature of you know, lockdown and COVID and stuff. And then he didn't do that, because the one thing we very quickly didn't discuss was the TikTok. So, you know, J-Lo actually, I mean, that Super Bowl halftime show was such a damn multitasker. Not only is it a cultural reset, trust building exercise, there's also a TikTok challenge in there as well.
Is that the one that J-Lo did in the A-Rod show?
Yeah.
What was really scary is there's one bit when they're all these little girls and they show their ass off at one of the choreography bits. Like, they're like, it's awful. No. It's what was the lyric?
So what they're doing is they do that first segment of J-Lo's kind of Ain't It Funny, and then it's like,
it must be the ass, and all the girls are doing. I'm like, this is not cool.
And J-Lo's smacking hers because she,
and all the little girls are watching.
All the little girls are influenced, honestly.
Like, really?
I mean, that's OnlyFans content, honestly.
Oh my god!
But the TikTok, like the fact that this was like, you know, it carried on over TikTok for like 2-3 like months afterwards, just absolutely incredible, honestly. But anyway, speaking of TikTok, do you know what else I saw on TikTok at the time, which you won't believe?
What?
That is, the podcast is mine.
No, it's mine.
We hope you've enjoyed listening to The Podcast Is Mine. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our podcast and share it with a friend. You can also follow us on all the socials. On Instagram, TikTok, Facebook and YouTube, we are The Podcast Is Mine. And on Twitter, we are Podcast Is Mine. Or you can email us at thepodcastismine@gmail.com. Oh, and one more thing, the podcast is mine.